Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 as France. Not yet communist France, though hopefully very soon. The Spanish Civil War has already broken out and we would really like to be able to send volunteers to support the Republican side in that war, but we can't yet do it because we still have our democratic government which forbids sending military volunteers, at least until world tension has risen considerably. We're up to 6% right now. We can actually click and find a history of what has been increasing world tension. Germany has sent volunteer divisions to nationalist Spain, but the Soviet Union has sent 5 to Republican Spain, so those sort of balance out a bit. So we currently have no daily change for communist support, but as soon as we finish our focus here, we will start getting 0.2 per day. And we have a request for military access from Republican Spain. I will accept. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, Republican Spain is the right one. So I guess we have a little bit of vision. We can at least see where the battles are happening, if not what actually is happening in them. We don't see too much change, so at least it seems to be holding the line. Maybe even pushing back in this area. Alright, well hopefully we'll be able to make some kind of difference. Revisit the Matignon agreements. With the recently signed Matignon agreements, our industry have no way of competing with the Germans. We are falling behind in production capacity with each passing day. This is certainly true. Minus 30% factory output. Some factory owners have already started renegotiating some of the rights that were granted at the Matignon agreements. With little to no resistance from the workers, we have an opportunity to officially revoke the newly gained worker rights countrywide, but risk them rallying behind the Parti Communiste Français once again in hopes that they will back another strike. Letting the workers keep their rights and focusing on optimizing the current workflow may help reunite the French people and let us grow together. So we can gain some national unity, or we can revoke their rights and drive more people towards the Communist Party, which is actually what we want. This also removes the penalty to construction speed, so it's win-win for us. This gets us up to 45%. It looks like they're pushing towards the capital here, which would be good. Okay, we finished our research on construction. So that plus the removal of the Matignon agreements should get us a little bit back on track with our construction. We no longer have the minus 30%, and that's an extra plus 10% from the tech we just researched. So resource gain efficiency plus 10%. This affects, I believe, how much of the strategic resources we gain, like oil and rubber and stuff. We're a little ahead of time to go to construction 2. Could just get radio, increases reinforce rate. Let's actually get support weapons. This is just basically small percentage bonuses to defense and breakthrough. Breakthrough is like an attack stat to all of our troops, which should be useful. Alright, we are almost up to 60 days of our newest national focus. And hopefully once we have that and support for the Communist Party creeps up over 50%, we should get our government change event. It is definitely seeming like there's not going to be a very quick end to the Spanish Civil War, though, so we should have time to help them out. Alright, we have support the left. So we can get Republican intervention, which will allow us to send volunteers even if we don't get the government flip. Alternatively, we can get leftist rhetoric, which will just give us extra daily communist support. We'll go for Republican intervention, make sure that we'll be able to intervene in Spain in 70 days at the absolute latest. So we're actually getting plus 0.05 per day. So it'll be a while before that creeps up. And let me just check here. Does it say how many divisions we'd be able to send? It doesn't. I think it's about 4. So obviously we should choose the 4 highest impact divisions, which is probably going to be 4 armor divisions, though arguably maybe our mountaineer divisions would be good as well. They do have some mountains in Spain. The 11th Olympic Games were recently held in Berlin, Germany. Attended by athletes from 49 different nations across the world, the 1936 Summer Olympics are the first in history to have enjoyed limited live television coverage. The Games were a significant propaganda victory for the German regime, which spent lavishly on the event. German athletes saw the most success, winning 33 gold medals, while the Americans came in second with 24. 4 of these were won by Jesse Owens, the single most successful athlete of the Games. The Games are concluded. Alright, it is slowly creeping up. Let's see how our constructions are going, actually. We have 39 civilian factories. We also got access to more of the factories when we got the free change of law here to early mobilization, which would have sped up our construction of the additional factories too. We're about to finish one here. But it will take us quite a while to crank through all of these. We will be able to convert civilian factories to military factories and vice versa if we want to, though I don't think we will be doing that just yet. So I guess I'll talk about all of these buildings are built on a state level, and these ones all share slots. The sort of strategic buildings here, the air bases, anti-air infrastructure, don't take up the building slots, but they're built on a state level as well. You can see here what the infrastructure level and air bases are and stuff. These province buildings are built on a province level, so if you look at the forts, we can see that we have level 10 forts along the German border. We'd probably like to build some along the Italian border at some point. In fact, I believe we have a national focus that will give us some free forts there. But that's, I think, a lower priority after our factories. I am expecting Italy to join the Axis, even though we have historical AI focuses turned off. They do still start as fascists. So them joining the Axis makes sense. do we got here? 10 more days left. Communist Party support is up to 48%. So once we have this focus, I think I'll probably switch over to the industry tree and get down to the extra research slot. Obviously, the sooner that you get that, the better. Ooh, it looks like we have some progress being made here. Maybe. Ooh, looks like they're driving towards the capital in that area, though. Alright, we have our Republican intervention. Let's choose a new national focus. We'll start with Metropolitan France. We get some free infrastructure. And we should be able to send volunteers to Spain now, even though we are still a democracy for the time being. Alright, so we have to define an army that we're going to send, and I think sending maybe 4 armor divisions is going to be best. So we'll start assigning these to a new army here. If we can find them. We have one up here. We do not have a lot of tanks, but we will use them to help out Spain. So let's assign a commander here. We have only field marshals left. Let's see what bonuses we have. If we have anyone with bonus to armor speed, yeah, we should probably assign them. Let's assign somebody else to this army. Alright, so we'll send volunteers. This is our 4 divisions of tanks. So we'll generate some additional tension, but that's okay. They will allow us to send them volunteers. So they're going to arrive on the 21st of October. It'll take 11 days to get there. And it looks like the communists have taken the capital of Zaragoza and it's moved to Extremadura over there, which is great. In fact, it looks like our help might not even have been required. Seems like they're going to take that one as well. Hopefully the war isn't just over by the time we get there. That would be disappointing. I think we should be able to help out a little bit. Okay. We have arrived in Valencia. So we still retain control over these and we have to tell them what they should be doing. They don't get assigned to the AI or anything. So we get to decide where they might be most useful. And let's see here. I guess we could maybe send them over here and try to take the new fascist capital. Or we could just try to eliminate these little pockets in here. Since we're so close to here already, I think we maybe will do that. Although these are mountains, and I don't think tanks operate particularly well in mountains. Maybe we should try to push up along the coast or something. Though a lot of this is mountains too. In fact, now that I think about it, the Alpine troops might have been a better choice than tanks, but anyway. Actually, I think we'll send them down to the south. I think there's more plains here. They might be of more use. Alright, so we'll assign them to a front line. We won't be able to spread them out along the entire front, of course, because we only have the 4 divisions, so we'll, let's see, right-click and draw the defensive line. No, I drew it in the wrong place. Let's see, over 2 provinces, maybe? We can maybe help them push up towards the river here, take a couple of cities. Alright, we're fighting a defensive battle here as it stands. So now that we actually have some armies in the field, I'll talk about some of the battle plans a little bit more. So basically to start an attack, you can of course control the divisions manually, you can tell them where to go, you can tell them which troops to attack, but the better way to do it is to assign them orders. And for example, we can assign them an offensive line, which will basically do, I suppose, up to here. So you can see they have this battle plan to push up to this river now, but they won't immediately execute it. They'll only do that when we click this button. And while they're there with that plan in place, they will be gaining preparation, which is an attack bonus up to a maximum, in our case, of 75%. And we get 1.5% each day, which will give them an advantage the longer we leave them on the front with the battle plan in place. But as it turns out, it looks like this is going to be to our advantage even if we execute it right now. So I think we'll probably do that. We could gain a benefit by, allowing the plan to, or allowing the divisions to gain more planning, but I think we'll go ahead and execute immediately, and they'll go ahead and try to push up to that offensive line, which it seems they can do pretty easily here. How are things going in the rest of the war? Not much change elsewhere, it looks like. Alright, we have pushed up to the river. Now it looks like there's no resistance over here, so we can probably quite easily push up to here, say. This might be a little bit ambitious for the number of divisions that we have, but it seems like the general thinks it's going to be advantageous. So I guess we'll just execute on this immediately. Should be able to take Cordoba as well. These are all worth victory points, by the way. I think. I think we're actually hovering over the orders there. Maybe if we deselect that, maybe not. Anyway, getting the victory points is how you get progress towards victory, as you might expect. In particular, taking the capital is probably worth the most. In fact, I think the reason we can't see the victory points is because we're not technically involved in this war. Alright, our front is getting moved forward a bit, I think, by the allied troops here. Let's draw a new offensive line and just take some more territory up to here. Just have them go do that immediately. Our armies, incidentally, are gaining some additional experience here, which is nice. We can actually send our armies here to do exercises back at home, which will help out with their experience as well, and also give us army experience, which we can use to edit our division templates. But while our production is so low and we don't really have supplies, I don't really want to do that because exercises cause attrition and we don't really want to be losing equipment to that. I think we'd rather be producing it and supplying our new armies. Okay, so we're only slightly ahead of time now for construction speed. I think we'll just go ahead and get this. I think we'll get radio as well, probably. And for our third research, we just finished this. let's take a look at our tank divisions. Okay, so we have just one model of light tank. It's going to be a long time before we can get the upgraded model there. And we're still ahead of time for medium tanks. We could go for heavy tanks as well, but... I don't think there's much point doing this while our production output is so low we're not going to be able to make many of them. We could go for our land doctrine. It's still going to take a long time, though, because we still have the plus 75% land doctrine research time. Maybe we get the fighters. Again, though, we have low production, so we're not going to be able to make many of these. But it is important to have good planes. We'll go and do it, I suppose. How goes support for the Communist Party? Slightly in the majority. But it definitely seems like the Spanish Civil War is going to be going the way that we want it to. Which I, of course, take full credit for. 100% my doing. I am being facetious, but I think we actually did make something of a difference down here. Alright, let's select our army. I'm going to delete their orders and redraw the offensive frontier. Just so we can keep them a little more concentrated. It tends to, you know, spread out a bit and get modified when we're in a war with allies here because they can also push the front and then our armies move up to compensate for that. Okay, so we'll get an offensive line. I'll just take this little piece of land over here, which we should be able to do without too much resistance. I think there's only that one army there. Alright, communists demand referendum. Marxist ideas took root in France a long time ago, but have gained much more widespread support lately. The movement has spread outside political theory and into political practice, with disgruntled workers and even some high-profile celebrities voicing support. The communists call this class consciousness. The Parti Radical calls it a fast track to riots and treason, showing little faith in Edouard Daladier being willing to implement the reforms they demand. The more vocal communists have called for an immediate referendum to have the current government removed. While we might be able to reverse the momentum of this mass movement, failure to do so will doubtlessly result in the more popular communist method of removal, revolution. So we have the choice to say un-French activities must be stopped, which removes support for the Communist Party, removes political power, and we get lower national unity, which we don't want to do. We could ignore them for just lower national unity, or we can have a referendum as an alternative to bloody revolt. The politics will change. We'll get the Communist Party in power. There will be no public elections. And we'll again get lowered national unity, which is not good, but it's the price we have to pay to get the government we want in charge. Alright, so we are communist. We have Maurice Thorez in power. And we have a little star on our flag. And this also changes our rules. Where do we say here? What rules we have? We can now send volunteer forces to anybody without having to get the special focus to do so that we did in the case of the Spanish Civil War. There are other restrictions as well that have been lifted, namely that we can now fabricate claims, which I'm going to do over here in Iraq, I think, so that we can gain ourselves some access to oil. And by fabricate claims, I of course mean justify war goals. This isn't Crusader Kings. So let's see, I'm going to cancel here. We're going to look at the resource map mode. So they have oil here and here. And let me look at the states map mode as well. So it's Baghdad and Mosul that we want. Though I guess we might as well take the other state as well if we're going to do that. I don't know if there's really a reason not to do that. Alright, we'll justify... Well, how much longer will it take? Yeah, considerably longer. Okay, it's going to take us 290 days anyway. And also, we don't have the political power to start doing this yet. Alright, that's fine. We'll wait then. And we'll just take those two states. Or at least we'll just justify war goals on those two states. We might be able to just take the additional state in the war anyway. Although that may or may not be a good idea. Alright, we've got Metropolitan France. That gives us extra infrastructure in a few of our states. And now we can get to industrial expansion, which gives us 5 new civilian factories, which is a pretty nice boost to our industry. We're up to 42. We're still working on the queue of factories that we started there before. I'm not actually sure if the insufficient oil affects our construction. I don't think it does. No, so it's only the equipment production that's affected by that, and even then only the light tanks and motorized vehicles and the ships, of course, that have lower production. Still, though, getting the oil is certainly valuable. Alright, I think we can go ahead and push further north here. And I think we'll just go all the way up here. We'll cut off any divisions that are down here, which I assume our allies will be able to take care of. Or I guess we're going to go that way. That's fine too. Though it doesn't look like this battle is going particularly well. We can actually click in and look at these battles. We have a Soviet brigade in here as well, or a division. I didn't really want to attack this army over... Are we over a river here? So I might just see if I can have you retreat. Let's delete their orders and try to get them to go where I wanted them to. Over here. These armies are now, or divisions are now cut off and out of supply, so they should start taking attrition and not really be a problem anymore. We can look at the supply map mode, by the way, at least for ourselves, if I can find the right button, which is important. I won't look at it in too much detail, but basically it shows how much supply we can get to each province via our supply lines, which obviously is quite a lot in our home territory. But if we look, for example, where it's going to be relevant pretty soon over here, we can get only 32 supplies. But anyway, cutting off the supply lines of the enemy is definitely a good thing to do. Alright, so let's see if we just put our offensive line up to here. That should be an advantageous plan. Though we are meeting a little bit more resistance here than we were in the south. The green icon supposedly means that we're winning, but the numbers seem to be counting down, which is the opposite of winning. So this is perhaps not as advantageous as I was told. Maybe it's getting better now. Seems to be a tough engagement. Alright, well, we're about out of time for this episode, so I think I'll leave it here. We'll continue in the next one. Let me just check to see if we have enough political power. I think we need 50 to actually start justifying our war goals. Oh, it was 58, actually. We could start sooner if we just justified for one state, but I think we'll go for 2. So we have to wait for 58. Okay. Well, let's leave it here for that episode then. Thanks for watching, and join me again next time.